All right, so let's just say that you're working on a scene where you have pouring gasoline on fire and it splashes onto a wall. Now, what would happen in real life is that not only the gasoline would be on fire, but everywhere where it touches the wall would be on fire too. So by default, if you were to set this up just like we did earlier in the course, you would only be able to set the liquid on fire itself, but not the wall. But if you're doing a liquid simulation in Phoenix, you can generate something called the wet map. So these are the red particles here right now. These are the wet map particles. So wherever the liquid touches the wall, I am generating a wet map, which means that if I render this out, you can see that it actually looks wet wherever the liquid touched the wall. And what I think a lot of people don't know is if you go into your fire source, you can enable can pick simulators and then you can click add and you can add the liquid simulation as your source, and it will give you an option to not only add the liquid, but you can add the wet map as well. So I'm gonna add both the liquid and the wet map and say okay. And now if I go into run simulation and I pick the fire, you'll see that I'm emitting fire and smoke out of the liquid. And then when it touches the wall, which is gonna happen in a second here, you can see that I'm now actually emitting fire and smoke out of everywhere where the wet map particles are as well. So the entire wall is effectively on fire as it would be in real life, which I think is super cool, and it's so easy to set up. There's no trickery, no complicated texture setups, nothing. You just say add wet map and it's gonna burn wherever that liquid touched. So you can only imagine you could have a car here, you could have any kind of an object here, but you could pour that liquid on fire on it and set it on fire and get some super cool effects this way. So just another quick tip. And just by the way, if you want to look at the wet map setup, it's included in the project file. We go in depth into this in the liquid courses that I have, but I'm just gonna quickly set it up for you. So you would just select a new material and make it a V-Ray blend material. Let's say discard old map. Now your base material is gonna be the drywall basically. So you can do another V-Ray material and maybe make that white. And then for your code material, that's gonna be your wet material. So you can make that darker as if it's wet, so maybe dark gray. And then for the blend amount, you wanna go under Phoenix FD and select the Phoenix particle texture. And here you can select the wet map of Phoenix FD liquid, say okay, and set the areas blending method to biggest. And then I'm actually gonna just hide the fire so it's not in our way right now. And if I just grab this entire V-Ray blend material and apply it to the wall and hit render, you can see that it's working as it should. The dry areas are the dry material and the wet areas are the wet material. So that's it.